Hey guys, welcome back to Friction Grand Rapids. Coach Bobby here. We're going to talk about the overhead squat and why you should utilize it into your fitness routine. So the overhead squat is going to require a tremendous amount of flexibility, not just in that overhead position, but also through the shoulders and the upper back, the hips, the knees, and the ankles. And that overhead position is going to require strength through that and stability as well. And then it's going to require a tremendous amount of core strength to hold a lot of weight in that position and move through the squat. Or if you're doing a lot of reps or doing under fatigue, it's going to require even more stabilization for longer periods of time. First step towards working on that overhead squat and your workout routine is to open up the front of the shoulder. So today what we're going to use is a lacrosse ball against a post, and we're going to work on the anterior delt. So Trina's going to demonstrate that for us. So she's going to have one hand on the lacrosse ball, and she's going to hold that on the post the whole time, and she's going to lean the front of her shoulder right into the post, and you'll notice she's kind of got her arm wound up a little bit so that we're stretching out that muscle. And we're kind of work on just the front of the shoulder. If you want to get into the pec a little bit, that's fine as well. So after we give that anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, we'll switch sides, and then when we get done, we're going to go into a stretch that'll kind of lengthen that tissue so we can access that overhead position. That stretch is going to be called the twisted cross. So when you set up for this one, you're going to lay flat on the ground, make a T with your arms, move one of your arms into a push-up position, and then kick that same side leg across your body. And we're going to get as a big stretch in the front of this shoulder. What you want to focus on while you're in that stretch is tightening up that musculature in the back of the shoulder, because that's going to mimic that same thing we're going to have in that overhead position where we want tension in the back of the shoulder and the front of the shoulder is open. After we've opened up the front of the shoulder, the next step is to work on thoracic extension. So this is when we're in that overhead position, bring our arms up. This is getting our upper back to kind of extend a little bit, and that'll make it a little bit more comfortable to get in that overhead position. It'll also help us maintain a lower back position as well. So really great tool for that is a banded child's pose. So what you want is a band attached to a pull-up bar. You're going to loop your hands inside of the band and then put your hands together and then set up to your knees, and knees are wide like you're in a squat position, and then you're just going to relax, let your head and chest fall through. The band is going to give you a little bit of pull, and you're just looking on tightening your abdomen and pressing towards the floor, and we're going to get that nice overhead position. Now, if you don't have access to a band pull-up system here, you can also utilize a box. So we'll go ahead and climb out of here. So the box, what we're going to do is put our palms right on top. Same setup for the lower body, and then we can still drive our chest through and engage our abdomen and get this exact same stretch. Cool. We've worked on a lot of stretches for the upper body. Now, if you need to stretch out your lower body, you should definitely do that for this movement because it is a demanding exercise for lower body flexibility. You can always check out our air squat flexibility video as well. But otherwise, we're going to transition into some drills to kind of prep some tension in the shoulders to create active shoulders, teach you how to press actively into the bar, but also to help you engage your upper back. So what we're going to work on is a SOTS press progression. So what you're going to do is gather a barbell into a rack and duck underneath, establish a snatch grip before you come out of the rack, and we've got the bar resting on the traps. Tighten the core, we'll stand it up out of the rack, walk it back. So first thing we're going to want to see are just a few presses. When we do this, we're going to swing the elbows under, engage the lat, make sure those shoulders are nice and tight, and we're just going to keep the legs tight, core tight, and press straight up, and we'll hit a few reps there. So after one or two, we're going to set the bar back on the shoulders, keep them tight. We're going to position the legs like we're going to squat, and we're going to go down just a few inches. We're going to hold that position, keeping the torso nice and tall, shoulders active, and we're going to press. And we'll hit a couple reps there. Now, when you use this lower position, you're getting a lot more recruitment and tension in your upper back. And then what we can do is work down a few more inches and then set the shoulders and press. And eventually what we want to do is get flexible and stable and tight enough to hold the bottom position and press from there. This is going to allow you to own the bottom position of the overhead squat and have as much control as possible in that movement. Now that we're ready to move and we've kind of woken all these muscles up, we've stretched a little bit, want to talk about safety in and out of the rack. So we kind of covered this on the last drill, but let's go through it in a little bit more detail so you know how to get the bar out of the rack safely and return it back to the rack safely. So we're going to establish a back rack position just like we would do if we're going to back squat. We'll duck underneath the bar, set the bar high on our traps, stand it up, walk it out, and set our snatch grip or our overhead squat grip, which is going to be rather wide. Once we're there, we're going to tighten the upper back, position the elbows under, cores tight, and you can do one of several things here. First, you could just strict press it up if it's nice and light, which is going to look like that. And then when we come back down, we always want to come back down to the traps. We never want to come back to a front rack because it's going to put the shoulder in a position where it can get impinged or it can cause it to bind a little bit, which is not going to be healthy for the shoulder. So when we're turning it down, either back to the traps or you bring it down to the hips. Other option is to let it go and get out of there if you're not safe, okay? So another option to get it up is gonna be a push press. And this one, we're gonna dip and drive through the legs and then get a little bit of boost with the legs. And then we'll turn it back to the traps. And then third option could be a push jerk. And then fourth option would be a split jerk. Great. And now, if you're not sure how to do those movements just yet, stay tuned for our shoulder to overhead series. Otherwise, always make sure you're able to safely move that bar in and out of that back rack position when overhead squatting. Guys, so thanks for tuning in on the overhead squat. I hope it's a useful tool to develop your flexibility and active shoulders in your squat development. If you guys want to have some more information on some movement techniques, maybe learn a few new exercises to incorporate into your fitness program, like and subscribe to learn some more from us. If you want to come in and get some coaching, check out frictiongrandrapids.com and schedule an intro.